But I tell you what, as we're getting there, it's on time. We start on time. We'll let people flow in as and when they do. And meanwhile, announce the 163rd Security Thought Leadership webinar. 163 folks are here today. And the idea of thought leadership is that what we try and do is we try and examine the issues today in order that we might have a better type of security tomorrow. And as always on these, we try and challenge, we try and think differently. And today is a very special one for two reasons. One, we're going to be talking about Nigeria, thinking about the security sector in Nigeria. What are its strengths and what are its challenges? A normal webinar with 3 expert panelists who I'll introduce in a second. And then straight after, we're going to be announcing the winners of the 2022 Nigeria OSPAs. And I will be asking 2 people, Raymond and Wilson, to join us to help us announce the winners. So looking forward to that afterwards. But first, let's go to our webinar. And it's thinking about security in Nigeria. 3 panelists. So first of all, I'm going to invite them to introduce themselves. And once they've done that, I'm going to invite them to make an opening statement. That's when they get 3 minutes to say whatever they want to say about the topic. If you, the audience, would like to ask questions, please use the question and answer button at the bottom of your screen. That's the Q&A button, and I will endeavour to incorporate it. And some people have even sent me questions in advance. So how good is that? So without further ado then, let's go and meet our panellists. And first of all, let's go to Adesola. Adesola, can you please introduce yourself?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Adesola. I'm from YSY Limited, a security outfit that is focused in solving cash in transit, solutions and challenges in Nigeria. So that's what I do basically. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And Edwin, where are you? We've lost your camera, Edwin. Can you come, Edwards? Can you come back to us, Edward? Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, introduce yourself, please.
Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen from Nigeria. My name is Emmanuel Uwalaka from Professional Safety and Health Association, and I'm the Regional Administrator for Nigeria, and I'm here to be speaking on the core topic, as earlier said by Matthias. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Emmanuel. And just as we began to speak, Edward, Edward, there you are. You're back. Edward,
my internet.
Oh, that's fine. I have palpitations when the panelists disappear. It does occasionally happen on international links, but Edward, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Martins, for giving me the opportunity to share in the 163 webinar, and of course, alongside with my fellow panelists. My name is Edward Orim, and I am the Principal Consultant at Engr Security Limited. I serve in law enforcement, the military precisely, and have worked as a security manager at a couple of organizations in the private sector. Of course, with security association, societies involved. I am currently the chairman of the American Society for Industrial Security, ASIS International Abuja chapter. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much indeed. That is great to have you all panelists. Thank you so much for joining us. And once again, another expert panel. And I know many of you around the world are impressed about how we do this. But you know what? We just approach the best and they say yes. So thank you very much indeed for joining us. Great to have all 3 of you on board. Now then, we want to know about Nigeria's security. We've heard about it before. We've heard there are some good points. We heard there's some big troubles too. Let's find out where we are, what the issues are, and we'll begin to think what we can do about them. First of all, let's go to Adesola. Adesola, can you please give us your opening statement? Adesola. You're on mute, Adesola. Oh, wait a minute. You okay with the link, Adesola? I'll tell you what, Adesola, the link looks a bit difficult for the second. Yeah. Let's go to Edward first. Edward, let's have your opening statement first.
Okay, when we think about security in Nigeria, for the common man in Nigeria, what comes to the mind? Some of the people just think about safety, others help, and in all of this, everyone needs a sense of security, be it the school child, the businessman, or the religious leader, who of course has direct access to God. The issue of security has taken center stage in the world at large, and Nigeria is no exception. It has become a very pressing concern with the advent of pandemic, terrorism, pandemic, and so on. But Nigeria is facing a series of security challenges ranging from threat of terrorism and outward banditries in the north part of the country, and piracy and militancy in the southern part of the country. And of course, the issue of kidnap for rituals in the southwest, and of course, secession, agitation, and the armed conflict or clash between different groups in the southeast. Well, commending the efforts of the security services in the face of this current security situation in the country. We will all agree that there's a need to improve synergy between the security services in order to overcome the present security predicament we are facing. The private sector industry in Nigeria, to some extent, is complementing the efforts of the conventional security service in their operations. But there's a great need to develop and strengthen the private sector in the country through appropriate legislation to strengthen the national security system. The need to review the training and doctrine command track dogs. Basically, you want to say that security service, maybe precisely army, to focus on emergent trends and new techniques to deal with this threat cannot be overemphasized. Furthermore, I would like to say that there's also a growing need for a new and better technologies, arms, and equipment to deal with this threat. Another essential aspect is the role of credible intelligence in all operational plans in order to mitigate the current source of insecurity. A lot of the issues with our security services in Nigeria is due to lack of prioritization of funding in this sector. It is therefore very, very necessary to ensure that adequate funding for capacity building and procurement of equipment and improved system is made available. Appointing the right people into the right offices and supporting them with all required political will will go a long way to ensure that the right policies and mechanisms are put in place to promote the smooth running of the system, as well as to detect and neutralize compromises within the system. A lot of compromises within the system, and this will go a long way to neutralize that. I would like to say that a complete overhaul of the current mechanism of intelligence sharing to make it more seamless and timely among security services and other stakeholders. We should take note that the fact that poverty plays a key role in the rising insecurity in our country, Nigeria. Over the last 6 years, poverty level has been on the rise, and with the high degree of lack, it is only normal that a high level of population will turn to crime. The security services of the country are overstretched and demotivated, hence cannot perform at optimal levels. It is therefore necessary that we work on increasing the funding and prioritizing the security sector so that more staff can be recruited and they can be properly motivated to do their job. Martins.
Thank you very much indeed. Fantastic. Absolutely. Plenty of issues there. Plenty of food for thought. Don't forget, if you've got a question, audience, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Get your question in, and I will endeavour to incorporate it in our discussion. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Well, let's go back to see if we can get Adesola. Adesola, we tried to get you, but we lost connection for a minute. Adesola, over to you. Your opening statement, please.
Thank you very much. I think Edward has said a larger portion of it. We have a serious challenge on our hands, and it cuts across the entire country. And I think it starts with leadership. Security goes beyond just security, as we say, but you know, it eats into the heart of preserving our democratic values and how we progress forward through social cohesion. The challenges in security are grossly affected by census. We don't have any verifiable figures for census. You have different numbers being put forward by different agencies, and with our inability to monitor movement patterns of people, we put ourselves in a position where we can't actually solve this security challenge. And this really affects intelligence. There's no proper intelligence gathering by the security agents. Everybody is just a fire brigade. Conflicts always coming up here and there in Nigeria also affect the security state of the country, where you have different people talking about them trying to pull out from the idea of a country called Nigeria. These are some of the security challenges, and I think the major issue is that we haven't quite mastered a good security plan. I think we have a strong deficit there. There's no security architecture. It's like there's no intersectorial collaboration between all the agencies. Everybody's acting at parallel to each other without any synergies. And I think we need to come together and overhaul the entire security system, especially with regards to border control, collaborations with neighboring countries. What is the role of the police in performing law and order? What is the direction of government in defense and national security? And we don't really know. You have some of these agencies, I don't want to mention names, acting at cross purposes with other agencies, some taking superior roles over other agencies, where you expect this particular agency to take the lead on these particular issues. Recently, we've been having a lot of attacks as well, apart from the kidnapping for rituals, apart from the banditry. We've been having a lot of attacks as well, robbery incidents on vehicles that move money from banks. One happened recently in Ibadan, and there were some casualties. About 4 officers lost their lives. People are seeing these vehicles as easy targets now for sustaining their livelihood. So poverty is definitely an issue. How we come up with regulations or policies that guide these different areas of security? How involved are the security experts? Do we have a stakeholders approach towards solving these issues? These are all of the things that we need to look at. But at the same time, there have been some, it's not all been, gloom and doom. We have some progress that has been made. I know we're getting support from some different countries who are providing us with ammunitions, arms, helicopters, all this kind of stuff we see on the news. And I think it's commendable, but we also need to look at all these areas where we have challenges. Thank you.
And it's a brilliant, absolutely fantastic point, and plenty for us to come back on. Don't forget, if you've got a question, please use the question answer button at the bottom of your screen. We've got some questions in advance already, and we'll incorporate them into the ensuing discussion. But first of all, let's hear from our final panelists. Your statement, please, Emmanuel, your thoughts on this topic.
Thank you so much, Mr. Martins, for this wonderful opportunity as one of the panelists of this discourse. The issue of security in Nigeria and managing the issues of security in Nigeria is not a rocket science. It's not a rocket science. And looking at the topic we are talking about here, which is what are the strengths? We have really found out that the security agencies and the principals have not really acknowledged the need to increase the workforce, to have adequate workforce. Of course, Nigeria have the population, a country of over 200 million. What's the problem? So we have the strength when it comes to the workforce, adequate workforce to tackle threats and security challenges in the country. So we are missing it, not recognizing that strength. Then you also come again to look at the issue of the challenges. You know, we don't really have adequate equipment to manage some of these issues. No adequate equipment in place. Lack of information management. We have seen situations where some of the security agencies are collaborating with the corporates to carry out their evil duties and execute their operations. Because if there is an inner caucus in the security operatives to have some information, before you knew what is happening, it have leaked to the public. So they need to sanitize the system to know those that are really with them to tackle the issue of the challenges of security and know how to address the issue. Now, you also need to find out they have a whole lot of work to do to regain trust and confidence before the citizens. The citizens have lost confidence, have lost trust in the security system of the country. That is why you are seeing this, the operatives or the corporates, the different groups can summon courage, summon confidence to burn down security infrastructures, tackle them and pursue everybody and burn down vehicles, and that have sent strong signals to the citizens. So there is no more hope. So there is a whole lot of work to do to regain trust and confidence before the citizens if security system of the country have to come back to life. Now, we have also missed it because with my own little exposure, we have missed it in implementation of the security infrastructure of the country. So many leaders and the service chiefs and so many of them out there have tried to put this infrastructure into place by putting the CCTV, having the headquarters, having the drones and all that, but it's not well put into place. Just ordinary UAE, Dubai here, you don't see police operatives up and down, but their cameras are working in every interchanging or in every street and in every corners. And people are working 24/7 to monitor the movement and every attack that is nearly one of the place. And it's highly used in the United Kingdom, in the UK. You hardly see security operatives in the streets, but cameras are working 24/7. Everything is working. Now, we have put some of these things in place in the places like Abuja, for example. They have not really considered that infrastructure as very serious and very important. The security CCTV cameras that you see in the street of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, are not working. They are not working. The street lights are not working. In the night, everywhere is dark. These are security infrastructures. If in the night and everywhere is full dark in the whole city, capital city of the country, what are you talking about? So that is the first failure. Because the corporates and all these polygons that you see have enough room, have enough environment to operate. So they have to look into that area if we want to achieve security and safety in the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Look, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant comments. Thank you so much. There's some excellent points raised. I wonder whether I could all ask you this. All of you have there identified what you see as some of the key issues that face Nigeria's sector. Adesola, let me come to you first, because one of the questions I have in advance is this: where do we look to get good leadership, or to use some of your words, good infrastructure, in Nigeria? Where does it start? Where are the focal points to get the ball rolling in the right direction? Adesola, you mentioned the lack of a plan. Where might that start, Adesola? Let's start to you first, and I'll come to Edwards, then I'll come to Emmanuel. First of all, Adesola.
Well, I think, it starts with the head of the country, who would be the president in this case. He needs to direct government in terms of defense and national security. He needs to find the right people, so you have round pegs and round holes. He needs to drive that collaboration between all the agencies to solve this problem. And then also, you have to talk about, we're a democratic establishment. So you need to look at these laws. Some of them could be old. Some of them might need some new inputs. Some of them might need a little bit of tweaking here and there. So you have to look at the National Assembly as well. What role do they play? How do they see the entire security architecture coming together to solve some of these problems? But, basically it starts from the top and then it trickles all the way down below. As long as the leadership is right and they can identify that there are problems that need to be solved, and they take a very, very bullish approach towards solving these things, then you shouldn't have a problem. And then, of course, you have to look at the collaborations between the countries as well, because you've got, like Edward said, banditry in the north, piracy in the south. At some point in time, the Gulf of Guinea used to be the most plagued area for piracy. But today, I think they've done a lot of, there's been a lot of improvement in that area. I think our Nigerian waters are getting a lot safer. But then at the north, a lot of people who are migrating from conflict areas, moving firearms from other conflict areas, are trickling into Nigeria, and they're moving all these arms around. Some of them are coming into the country illegally. So, you need to talk about the customs, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, immigration. All these things all come together to form a web, to provide that safety net at guaranteeing that you have a proper security architecture in place. Customs, we talk about movement of illegal arms. Sometimes in the news, you might just find out that someone sent in a container filled with M16s and AK-47s, and you're wondering how the hell did that happen? These things do happen. And yeah, it starts with leadership between all the sectors.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. I'd like to come to you, Edward, because you pointed out the range of problems. And Adesola is there talking about, these are serious. And they affect the public. So in a sense, why wouldn't a political leader in a democratic country want to take the lead and engage the private sector? What needs to change to make that happen? Very specifically that question, Edward, what needs to change?
Yeah, thank you. Like Adesola just said, I think Nigeria, we have a strength in the security sector. We are resilient people. We have a vibrant law enforcement community, and of course, we have a growing, emerging private sector. But we need the Office of the National Security Advisor to coordinate all these things. And once that office can take charge, I think there will be a specific change.
Now, here's a point. It makes sense. What's the barrier to setting up the office? As an outsider, this sounds an unqualified good, a very, very good idea. What's the barrier?
Well, we have archive laws established law enforcement agency, establishing law enforcement agency, and duplication of functions, coordination of issues. Of course, these are basic barrier issues outside the country. So I think once the barrier to progress and overcoming them should just be that we see that we establish the the existing law and enforcing them with through our agencies.
Okay, very, 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 very helpful. I mean, just to say, by the way, Edwards, this is the same in my country. We also don't have a plan, and we're also trying to challenge it. So I say this because I want to learn about some of the issues. Emmanuel, let me come to you and let me offer your thoughts on this. I mean, you gave a very sort of passionate opening statement there. And I suppose many people listening would say to you, okay, so this idea of a plan, as Adesola put it, or a office, national security office, as Edward put it, something like that. All right. What do you see as the key change that needs to take place to facilitate the sorts of changes that you advocate, engagement, etc.? Emmanuel.
Yes, I think looking at what Edward said, yes, he's right. If the security advisor will be able to do the needful. But in my own thoughts, I thinking for a rapid change and to meet up with the demand, because the security issues are increasing every day. There is serious need for all the service chiefs to summon all the security operatives to come together to look at how they can face these issues face by face. They can't achieve everything at the same time. They just have to take one thing at a time. If they want to look at the issues of security infrastructures, that is fine. You know, they have to tackle that and bring change in that very area. Then they now have to move into another area to look into the laws and which one is working. You know, in Nigeria, we have so many laws. It's not the issue of having laws. We have so much laws that are all occupied in files and shelves. You know, that is not the solution. The solution is bringing capable people, as we said, you know, those who can make the change and who can take decisions. And at the end of the day, I think there may possibly be a change. It has to do with who is in charge, you know, who is at the top, who is taking decision, who is making decision to make these things happen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And leadership is crucial. And when we do these webinars on particular countries, this point crops up. There needs to be strong leadership. Look, we may well come back to that. Don't forget, audience, and there's a lot of you joining in now. If you would like to ask a question, please do use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, and we'll endeavour to do it. We've had questions set in advance. So let's come back now specifically to all of you. And what I'm going to do is, Edward, I'm coming to you first this time. And we've had questions from the audience about the role of technology in strengthening the security sector. Now, you've all made the points. Security is lacking in some respects. So the barrier seems to be funding, but ultimately, presumably, this comes to clients to fund. So what's the opportunity for technology? I mean, it's got great potential to change, but what's the trigger point, Edward, that's going to bring about that sort of engagement that's going to make a difference? And in other countries, this is down to clients being willing to pay and to persuade them of the benefits. Same in Nigeria, or is there more to it?
Yeah, I think basically the main issue is training. Training is a key because, like I said in my opening statement, training and doctrine from like the military or the security services, they need to emphasize that. And if there is an opportunity to look at the infrastructures, for example, power. We can't be like I'm talking to you now because to know that my network might be low. If there's no power, that could affect the technology. And I want to go to the part of corruption. Yeah, because if people are asked to do the right thing and empowered to enforce this, and they don't have the will or they ignore, I think corruption is a major hole too.
Yeah, okay. And it's an interesting point, this issue of corruption. Let me come to you, Emmanuel. I wonder whether I can ask you to touch on this as well. So the question's about technology. And we hear about corruption from the outside. Emmanuel, can you guide us here about this issue of corruption? I mean, how big a problem is it, and where might we look to solutions? And I'm going to come to you, Adesola, afterwards for your comments too. First of all, Emmanuel.
Yes, the issue of corruption in the system, as I said earlier in the opening session, there is need to sanitize the system. They need to sanitize the security system of the country, and also look into those in the leadership role. Because if any corruption or anything is going wrong, it starts from the top. Corruption cannot penetrate a system when the leader is not involved. It's very difficult. So if there is a whole lot of corruption going on within the security system, the leaders are fully involved and they know what is happening. So they need to, the president himself and some others at the top need to look at the people they are making, or they are giving leadership in various service chiefs and also in various security operating agencies. That is my stake.
Thank you very much indeed. And so let me come to you, because I think one of the issues that is a problematic for the Nigeria system is there is this sense, as you've been saying, that corruption is a problem. And Adesola, I wonder whether I could get your sense, how big a problem is it? And what's the route to solving it? I mean, can security sector do it on its own, or is this broadly endemic within a broader societal issue? Adesola first, and I would like to get your thoughts on this specific issue, Edward, straight after. Adesola first.
Well, we have mentioned poverty. And so if poverty is a problem, and corruption would definitely be a problem. The police is really in charge of law and order, so they are at the helm of the internal security of the country. When they don't have sophistication in weaponry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes. Oh, we've lost you. Carry on, Adesola. Carry on.
Yeah, police are not moving around with bulletproof vests. They are using normal soft skin vehicles instead of armored vehicles. They're not protected. They have to stand in the hot streets, and they have to chase after robbers without proper PPE, proper equipment. And even if you go up the line, you talk about the military, some of their sophistication in weaponry is not adequate enough to tackle security. How are they getting intelligence? Is there any form of geographic information system that's helping them plot security areas, security challenges? So everything is all intertwined. We talk about poverty, corruption, technology, sophistication. And it has to be a very, very multi-pronged approach. And without this multi-pronged approach, the entire castle of cards is just going to fall right through.
Yeah, fair enough. Let me come to you, Edward. I would like your interest. You raised this issue about corruption. I think it's a really good one. One of the questions that I got in advance, actually, from outside Nigeria was about this very issue. Is it, do you agree it's a major problem, Edward? And Adesola's pointed to the need to look to policing. What would you say? What would you say? How big a problem is it, and where do we look for change?
We start by looking at the sectional, ethnic, and religious sentiments. If this can be taken away, and we look at the ungoverned spaces by the porous border, the lack of proper coordination in the law enforcement community, and to be motivated. We look at the security forces or agencies being motivated and boosted, their morals to be boosted. Looking at the pay for a normal policeman on the street compared to the National Assembly member, people can want to look at a big difference. but I've not yet to compare that, but I would rather say that the funding should be increased. I think if we do that, we should be able to regulate the private sector, and I think corruption will definitely be reduced. I won't say it will be eradicated. Thank you.
So yeah, but it's a good point, right? So in the abstract, paying the police more would be good, but I wonder whether there's a broader societal issue here. I mean, is this a problem about policing and security, or is this a problem that needs a broader focus? Maybe Emmanuel, your thoughts on this. Very specifically, can we solve this problem in policing and security without solving it in a broader issue? The reason I say this, Emmanuel, on other discussions in other countries, that's been the problem. They say even if security got its act together, there would still be a broader set of problems to face. Emmanuel, what's your take on that?
Yeah, you know, just as my co-panelist said earlier, the issue of corruption is not just the issue of payment. If you pay the security operators or officers have pay a lot of payment, or maybe increase their salaries, provide this, if they are not well trained to understand their purpose and they understand their duties, they will still go on misbehaving on the street. So there is need for mental orientation and mental shift of understanding their purpose, understanding their duties, and how to relate within the society with the civilians they are protecting. You see, because that is why you see at the time people were like, there is no need for these police, because are they against us or are they with us? So it's not the issue of just payment, but is the issue, yes, it's a factor actually, because you see in other developing countries and within the Middle East and all that, you see their security operators. I have interviewed some of them. They are living well. They are riding good vehicles. They have their own personal vehicles, and they look good and they look smart. But here, you also see some security officers carrying rifles on the bike, on the motorcycle, in the keke and all that, you know, even on the street, moving up and down, where people can, some guys or some banditry guys can just pick up and beat him up and collect the rifle. So without thinking twice. So these are issues. You know, we need to look at their welfare, which is key, very, very important. Their security while at work, their safety while at work. That is why you also see that they always are scared of moving to the field, because once you are posting some groups to the field or some troops to the field, they already just seeing it as a probability of coming back or not coming back. Some of them, their wives have to pray for them and said, okay, if we don't see you, we take care of the children. You're already having that perception that there are possibility that they are not coming back home. So he said, so because their safety is not well granted, so that have to be looked into to give them trust and confidence to do the fight and to do the needful. Then also look into their welfare, as we rightly said. But you know, it's just like you recruiting a staff that have no better skills or have no better knowledge of what she or he is coming to do in your organization, and he's telling you to pay him 500,000 per a month. But looking at the skills or looking at what he's bringing on the table, you have no knowledge, you have no understanding. He's just telling you pay this. He's not paying the money, does not change any mentality or does not grant any experience. You know the job, you know the job. Money or no money. You don't know the job, you don't know the job. So they need to be trained to know the job. Then their welfare need to be looked into. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It is very, very clear, very clear. Now I'm going to turn to a positive. Now I'm going to turn to something. I'm going to give you each a magic wand. And with that, you can wish for one major strategic change that you would like to see made on the Nigerian security sector. So if there's one thing, back to the issues you've raised about prioritization, what should it be? one thing each. I'm going to ask you to be brief because we're running out of time and I want to get a comment from each of you. Adesola, your magic wand, what's the one big strategic change you would wish to implement?
One strategic change I would like to implement is an improvement in wages of security personnel. Without a doubt, it will instantly motivate the workforce of security personnel and would encourage them to perform better.
Okay, really good. And interesting that you picked on wages of security personnel. Thank you. Really, really interesting. Let me come to you next, Edward. Edward, you've got your magic wand. What are you going to wish for? What one big strategic change do you think will make most difference to Nigerian security sector?
I'll look at synergies between security forces and look at, well, I might be controversial here, but I think the state policing will do well. And of course, training.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with the state police, I mean, it sounds as though, and correct me if I'm right, Edward, that unless we address the pay of state police, then an engagement between private security and state police is always going to be problematic. We need to uplift both private security and policing in Nigeria before there can be any meaningful engagement. True or not true?
Yeah. I would say true, and that's why there's a room to allow that, so that they could complement. Like we have in the Northeast, we have the civilian JTF. They are complementing, and if each states have their police, I think the control, and like you said earlier, corruption and so on, and order will be effective.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. And finally, Emmanuel, what are you going to do with your magic wand? What are you going to wish for? Very briefly, if you wouldn't mind, Emmanuel, because we're running out of time.
I think the strategic change that I would love to be put into place, one, to improve the equipment used for security operations. You know, they need to improve the equipment, you know, in terms of their rifles and their fighting gadgets and things of that nature. There should be need for improved system there. Then another thing also is to improve the surveillance equipment system, such as the CCTV and also deployment of drones in some certain areas, crisis areas. Because if they deploy some of these, to have a clearer picture of what is deploying lives and officers there, and these bandits and all these guys will use them to do experiments, and it becomes a waste of lives and a waste of resources for the country. So equipment and deployment of surveillance systems is very, very important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Well, listen, panel, that was absolutely fascinating for me. Absolutely fascinating. And of course, the issue here is not that different to many other countries, where also, in a different way, there are issues about leadership. There are issues about coordination. There are issues about making partnerships work. And these seem to be challenges across the world. And there is no one country that so far I can point to say it's done brilliantly. There are challenges in every country. And I think what we've learned from today is that in many ways, Nigeria's security sector has got enormous potential and enormous contribution to make. And there needs to be leadership and political will to get that process going. And I tell you what, if they're taking leadership from what you three have had to say, it'll be a very, very good starting point. So thank you very much indeed to all three of you. Really appreciate that. Now then, just so you let you know, a copy of this webinar will be on the website tomorrow. So you can see it all over again. You can recommend it to people. And also, I will be writing a blog on what the panelists have said. I have more questions, actually, but we didn't get through them all because we just had such an engaging conversation. Thank you very much indeed to the panel. Really, really enjoyed it. Now then, Thank you very much indeed to the panel. We move on to the Outstanding Security Performance Awards 2022 in Nigeria. And here's a real exciting time for us. We are going to be joined by two new people. We're going to say goodbye to Edward and to Emmanuel and thank them. They're going to stay and watch the awards, I believe. But we're now going to move over to talk about the 2022 award. And what we're going to do here is reveal the finalists and the winners. And the first thing I would like to do is to thank our event partner, Securex West Africa, and category sponsor YSY Limited for supporting these awards. Very grateful to both of you, and both are playing a part, as will be revealed a little bit later in this presentation. I must also thank the judges. All over the world, the OSPAs are dependent on good judges. In Nigeria, that is the case too. They gave up their time to independently score the entries against the criteria, marking to an ethics policy, declaring any conflict of interest on every single entry. I'm very, very grateful to them, to their time, and also to all the associations who supported the awards. This is really important, actually, because in Nigeria, like in every country, we ask every association and group, would you be interested in supporting these awards? All of them have given their support. So thank you very much indeed to you all. And also, I'm going to have a special thanks to my colleagues from Nigeria, Wilson Esenbedo and Raymond Obaji. They've been supporting the OSPAs from the very beginning. They are worked to support the OSPAs in Nigeria, and I'm very, very grateful to them once again. Now, Wilson and Raymond will be assisting me in announcing the finalists and revealing the winners, and will also be involving Adesola as well. But let me tell you how it's going to go. So throughout the proceedings and afterwards, we will be sharing all the details about the awards with our international followers on social media. Please do use these hashtags. So without further ado, let's move on to reveal who are the 2022 winners of the Nigerian OSPAs. And the first award we are presenting is for Outstanding In-House Security Manager or Director. This award recognizes those who, through security expertise, business acumen, and/or innovative leadership, has led with distinction. And I'm going to hand over to my very good friend, Raymond Obaji, who's going to read out the lists of finalists. Raymond, very warm welcome, and over to you.
Thank you, Martins. The lists of finalists are as follows: Patrick Joseph, YNV Group; Adedeji Oduba, Coca-Cola Hellenic; Angwa Ruben Odum, United States Agency for International Development, USAID; Brian Roberts, Natural Chemicals Industries, PLC.
Thank you very much indeed, Raymond. Read expertly as always. Always grateful to have Raymond do that, because those words aren't easy for me to, those names aren't always easy for me to announce. Please can I ask Wilson, another long-standing friend of ours, to reveal the winner in the Outstanding In-House Security Manager or Director. Wilson, over to you to announce the winner, please.
And the winner is Brian Roberts of Natural Chemical Industries, PLC.
Thank you very much indeed, Wilson, and well done to Brian Roberts. I mean, I have to say, very, very competitive this year. And when you looked at the judges' scoring, there was some very, very good marks in that category. So very, very well done to Brian Roberts. And just to let you know, there are more details about this on the website, on the Nigerian OSPAs website, straight after these awards. So let's move on to Outstanding Contract Security Guarding Company here. And just to remind you that in order to be a finalist at the OSPAs, you have to reach a threshold. So even if 50 entries took place, if the judges only give good marks to 3, we only put mark 3 or 2. It's just the highest ones to get to be a finalist. This OSPA recognizes those who are outstanding suppliers of man guarding, make a positive difference, recognizing the distinct importance of frontline leadership, motivating staff, managing resources, forging partnerships. You get the idea. You've got to be good at all of those. To find out who the finalists are, I'm going to hand over to Raymond Abuja again to read out the finalists. Raymond, over to you.
The finalists for this category, Outstanding Contract Security Company of the Year, are Evergreen Protective Services Limited, Halogen Security Company Nigerian Limited.
Well done, and well done to those, because it was the judges are strong. They're very discerning, and those are the ones that got through. Over to Wilson then. Wilson, could you please announce who the winner is for us?
And the winner is Halogen Security Company Nigeria Limited.
Many congratulations to Halogen Security Company. I mean, I have to say they do very well, and extremely impressive actually performance in the Nigeria office. So very, very well done to Halogen. Now for the outstanding new security product. This OSPA recognizes an outstanding new product that has been designed and implemented to improve any area of security practice. It's sponsored by YSY Limited, and as a consequence of sponsoring, of course, YSY couldn't enter this category. And I'm going to pass you over to, and if you've just listened to the awards, you'll see that Adesola was one of the panelists. He's going to come back from YSY and say a few words and read out all the finalists and announce the winner. Adesola, over to you.
Thank you, Martin. Good security is extremely important to us here at YSY, which is why we're proud to be sponsoring this award. It's a pleasure to be in the company of such outstanding performers. The finalists in this category are Sensogard, Polar Afro Limited, TSH2 touchscreen pad by Satel, Sire Control Room by SecureSoft Limited.
And the winner, Dr. Sadi, who's won it? Can you announce the winner for us?
And the winner is Sensogard, Polar Afro Limited.
Well, first of all, thank you to YSY for sponsoring that. Your support is greatly appreciated, and you buy into our principles. So thank you very much indeed. And Sensogard, well done. That's a great award, actually, and a lot of people are going to be interested in that. All around the world, there are people now waiting to see who has won the Nigerian OSPAs. So many, many congratulations to Sensogard. Thank you very much indeed to YSY. And now, for our final 2022 award, the Outstanding Young Security Professional. This recognises someone under the age of 40 who has excelled and made an impact and is on the start of a promising security career. Back to Raymond then to reveal which rising stars have been selected as finalists. And don't forget, if you're a finalist, you're doing something right, because the judges only allow those who are doing really, really well to make it to the finalist list. So over to you, Raymond.
Thank you, Martin. For this category, Outstanding Young Security Professional, the finalists are as follows: Henry Aderibigbe of Pilgrims Africa Limited, Michael Boniface of Avid Security Limited, Brian Roberts of Notori Chemicals Industries Limited, PLC, Olabanji Olaniyan of Academy Halogen, and Rex Uche Ndubisi Nwankwo.
Thank you very much indeed, Raymond. Brilliantly read out as always. I'm going to ask then finally, Wilson, will you please do the honours and announce the winner of the 2022 Outstanding Young Security Professional? Wilson, are you there?
Wilson, you're on mute.
Oh, Wilson, you're on mute. That's the problem. Wilson, can you announce?
And the winner of the 2022 Outstanding Young Security Professionals is Brian Roberts of Notary Chemical Industries PLC.
I have to say many, many congratulations, Brian, because around the world there are very, very few double OSPA winners, and that is a fantastic achievement, especially in categories where there was enormous competition. Many, many congratulations to you, Brian. Before we close, let's congratulate the winners one more time of all the winners today. Congratulations to them all. So that concludes the presentation of the 2022 Nigerian Outstanding Security Performance Awards. This year's winners will be invited to collect their awards with the winners from 2020 and 2021 at a presentation event to take place on Wednesday of next week. That's the 11th of May at Securex West Africa at 4:30. And after that presentation, the winners will be invited for drinks in the Beach Club. And guess what? My good friend Wilson and Raymond will be there to present your awards and will be hosting the event on behalf of the OSPAs. So very, very much congratulations to all the winners from 20, 21 and 22. Please be at Securex next week at 4:30 on Wednesday when you can attend the event. Finally, congratulations to all the finalists. Really, really appreciate your putting yourself forward. It's very, very important and very, very impressive. And don't forget, in being a finalist, you've already done something exceptional. And thank you once again to our sponsor, YSY. Good to have you on board. To the judges who gave up their time to mark them so honestly, and to our ethics policy. To all the supporting associations who so diligently and so supportively promote the OSPAs in Nigeria, to my good friends Wilson and Raymond helping to present the awards, and to Securex West Africa for partnering with us, to also in the background Christine, Hannah and Claire, who have worked away at this to make it all possible. You're all very, very special and we're grateful to you all. Can I just say, I hope to see you again soon, and until we meet again, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.